You might be doing everything right. You're posting content, you're getting leads, you're setting up calls, but maybe clients just aren't closing and you're constantly hearing the dreaded, I need to think about it. The truth is your sales process is broken. If you don't fix your sales process, you're constantly going to be in that chasing trap and you'll stay in basically the almost there cycle. But today I'm gonna break it all down for you. This is the exact process that I've used to go from feast or famine, unable to close cold prospects, to being able to scale to over $200,000 a month and build a sales team around me. And if you guys don't know me, my name is Austin. I basically started with zero skills, zero knowledge as it pertained to sales, and built through the process of trial and error. And after burning out and constantly chasing low quality leads, I was finally able to crack the code that gets clients from cold to sold. So in this masterclass, I'm gonna walk you through 3 different steps that are going to be important to stop selling like an amateur. First being appointment setting, how to find appointment setters, how to actually create an appointment setting system. 2 is going to be creating a video sales letter, which will be pre-selling prospects before you actually jump on a call. And 3rd, the exact sales script and sales framework that we've used that you get to steal to use inside of your business so that you can close more deals with prospects on a call, in addition to all of the objections. So by the end of this, you won't just know what to do, you'll have the exact processes that we've used for your business. And before we get into it, you can download the full OS that I'll be teaching off of. If you click the link down in the description, this is the whole operating system. If you haven't got it, get it today because it's the foundation to scaling your sales team. You wanna know why most agency owners stay stuck around $20,000 per month? It's not your marketing, it's not your offer, and it's maybe not even your sales. It's because you're trying to do everything yourself. I scaled my agency to over $200,000 per month, and one of the main things that got us there probably isn't what you would expect. It was building an effective appointment setting team. But here's the thing, most people get this completely wrong and end up with no appointment. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the exact process that we use to hire appointment setters that consistently fill our calendar. And in fact, here's our calendar, which is basically full of 8 to 10 calls every single day. Look, I've broken this down into 3 different phases. The foundation phase, where most people fail and how you can avoid it. The selection phase, how to actually find an appointment setter and which method to actually use in finding one. And the scale phase, how to turn appointment setters into predictable revenue for you. And I'm gonna give you the exact templates and scripts and everything that you need in order to implement this same process. So what we're gonna first hit on is the foundation phase. There's 2 different points of the foundation phase that we need to make sure we have established before we even begin to hire an appointment setter. From a foundational perspective, we need to make sure we have the system in place so that when we plug somebody in, they can model the same system that we have so that they can hit the ground running and do really well. 1, it's going to be a proven lead gen system. And then 2 would be a system, which is going to be basically our OS. So to emphasize this, we need a way that we're predictably getting new lead. We need a proven funnel that is creating opportunities for us so that the appointment setter can work those opportunities. So if you don't have an offer, if you don't have leads coming in right now and you don't feel like you're overwhelmed, you don't have a process to actually get new leads, then it's going to be pointless to actually have leads. So this leads me to my second point. Let's say you do have leads that you feel like you can't handle and you want to get off of your plate. So what we need to do then is we need to develop a system that somebody can fall into. And in this case, this is what's called the Leads OS that we've developed that you guys can get as well. What we need to make sure is that we're setting up our appointment setters for success. We're going to go to our operating system, and what we're going to build, and you guys can get this same template if you just click the link down in the description, by the way, for free, is we're going to go to the appointment setting OS. To briefly go over the appointment setting OS, we want a place where all of our leads are going and they're organized by pipeline stage so that we can see how many leads that we're getting, what the status of the leads, and we can basically make sure that our appointment setters are hitting KPI. In addition, we also need scripts. When hiring an appointment setter, the success metric, it needs to be adherence to the scripts that we're giving them. And the problem that I see is that most people don't have this set up and they expect an appointment setter to go ahead and basically create their own scripts. When you're doing sales, it's basically design beats willpower. So if we can follow the design that we've built out, then we can just plug someone to follow that design. So we need an appointment setter workflow. So in the appointment setter workflow, there's really 6 different phases that we want to hit on. So the engagement phase, this is more so for outbound, maybe somebody that follows you on Instagram if you're running ads. Situation phase, basically understanding their current situation when it comes to what it is that you actually do. Then the goal phase, what is the outcome that they're looking for? What's the goal for their business that they're looking to achieve? And the problem phase would be what's stopping them from getting there. And then what we do is we invite them to book a call with us. We come up with a script basically that transitions from understanding their situation, understanding their goals, understanding their roadblocks, and then inviting them, positioning you as the new method, potentially the solution for them, to then then book a call. In addition, Fortune will be in the follow-up, so we want to equip people with follow-ups and KPIs around follow-ups. What I like to do is I like to just copy this, and I like to go to just simply like ChatGPT, and I like to just basically just say something along the lines of, let's say, rewrite the above as if I'm a web design agency. And what it will do is it'll completely rewrite the script for you so that you can then use this exact script for your business. So it's really easy to do. This is the framework that we've used consistently over and over again. What else do we need? We need like an EOD form, how we're going to actually track metrics. We need SOPs like positive reply protocol, appointment setting workflow, the calendar links, all that sort of stuff. In addition, calendar links. So if they do get someone who wants to book a call, is there a place that they can quickly reference a table to get the calendar to book the actual call with the salesperson? Lead magnets and VSLs. Where are all of your resources that the appointment setter can then send to somebody inside of the DMs to add value? Or if it's like a pre-call video sales letter or something along those lines, how do I get quick access to that so that I can then send it to them in the DMs, which increases the likelihood of them actually setting an appointment. In addition here, what else is super important when the appointment setter is using this is we can see data. So we can see how many calls have been booked based off of the amount of leads. We can see how many qualified leads our marketing is creating. We can see how many people that we have in the follow-up queue by stage, how many deals that we've gotten. So we're able to really use this to train our appointment setters and make sure that they're meeting or exceeding the KPIs that we've laid out for them. And what's cool, guys, is this also rolls up into some cool appointment setting data where we can see how many new leads, how many booked calls per month. We can see by stage. We can see a lead to booking ratio, which is like a really important metric. We can see how many signed deals, et cetera, et cetera. This gives us our bird's eye view, our management, our CEO view of the appointment setter so that we know if they're being effective or not. The other thing that I would say on like hiring an appointment setter, when to know you need one, it should happen after you've proven the system, proven the scripts, proven the frameworks, and you've become too busy to actually do this, and it now becomes time to offload. Now, let's talk about the selection phase, which is basically how to select where to find somebody. And there's really 3 different ways to pick an appointment setter. There is a VA appointment setters that you can hire. So basically people for like $5 to $10 an hour that can basically work as a virtual assistant. You can get them like offshore in a different country. The second way is you can do like a placement agency. So that would be like basically somebody recruiting an appointment setter for you. Typically we see this anywhere from $1,000 to, $4,000 as like a one-time placement fee. And then the third one is basically a commission only, which is like the holy grail of appointment setters. So let's break down each different type of selections. VAs are great if you have pretty much like a really short lead to booking ratio. We use VAs at our agency and we find it to be super efficient because it's an hourly rate. We have enough leads where they can be following up, and we've productized our appointment setting to be to the point where all they really need to do is copy and paste specific messages. I like the VAs as like a good starting point. As far as what to look out for when it comes to a VA is the grammar, the culture differences, the potential English, especially if they're not in the same country as you. So we need to make sure, one, we're either giving them copy and paste messages, training them consistently, and we're always looking out for that. So to find VAs, you guys can use basically any job listing platform and then post their job to be basically around the realm of responding to leads and following up. And then 3 would be project management or keeping the appointment setting dashboard up to date. That would be the main things that they would be responsible for. But the second type of selection could be using a placement agency. So basically what this does is this speeds up the time to find somebody to hire. Any sort of recruitment company out there, like their value is that they have a pool of candidates that we get to choose from, and they'll do all the hard work to actually find them, recruit them, and potentially even train them, which can save you a ton of time. The thing to look out for is that it could be really expensive, and if you don't have your systems in place and you expect them to place somebody with you and you don't have leads, you don't have something for them to do, then it's going to be a complete waste of money to spend money on a placement agency. So only use this if you have an abundance of leads and you're busy enough that it makes sense to pay someone to recruit and basically buy back your time in recruitment in order to find an appointment setter for you. The third way to select candidates is finding a commission-only salesperson, and is basically finding somebody who only makes money if they close a deal for you. So this is exactly what we should want and exactly what our goal should be if we want to really scale, because we can incentivize people to only basically get paid when they they are getting a deal for us. Typically from like an appointment setter commission only perspective, that can be anywhere from like 7% to even 10%, even with like a small base, just depending on your offer, depending on your price and stuff like that. But the thing to look out for is making sure that the appointment setter is going to be motivated and they're actually going to make a livable wage depending on where they're located. Because like if you're not closing enough deals on a monthly basis for them to actually make a living and for it to make sense for them, they're going to leave in 1 month because they haven't been able to close deals. So if you're unable to actually close deals and you don't have the capacity to close the amount of revenue that it takes to actually make this person a livable wage, then it's going to be a complete waste of time. You're going to recycle through an appointment setter and it's going to be, again, a huge waste of your time. Now it becomes the scale phase. How do I turn my appointment setter into a predictable revenue creator for my business? And honestly, this is where a lot of people fail because they just aren't good at being leaders for the appointment setters. So what we need to do when it comes to scaling with appointment setters is we need to act as that appointment setting manager. And this comes with a little bit of time from you, as well as making sure that you have KPIs dialed in. So there's really 2 things that I want to hit on here, which is going to be 1, training, and then 2 is going to be KPIs. So when it comes to training, what we're doing is we're basically training on the appointment setting workflow. So when it comes to actually training the appointment setter, what they need to do is they need to have conviction over the offer. They need to understand offer/audience, and then it becomes actual appointment setting. How do we turn this into training for our appointment setters? The first thing that we're doing is we're building conviction that our offer gets our clients a lot of results. So we're making sure that their conviction on what it is that we do for our clients gets them mad results and they can feel that. Second thing is they need to understand your offer and the audience. What are the pain points? What are they saying? What are their desired outcomes? What's the lingo that they're using? What's the jargon that they're using? How can I express this inside of my appointment setting if I have to veer away from the appointment setting workflow? In addition, they also need to understand your offer. And then once they have conviction and they understand all of the stuff, then it becomes the appointment setting training. And typically the ramp up should be fairly quick to get them into the DMs. What I would do is the first 2 weeks be DMing, reviewing every single day, if not multiple times a day, to be in the DMs to basically create a Slack channel between you and the client where they can send questions and then they're adhering to the workflow. And if there's anything that's not within the workflow, you're basically answering the question and helping them build them into an A-player appointment setter. The appointment setting basically training will take a few months for them to get fully ramped up. But if you do this right, by then you will be set. The next thing that comes with the scaling phase is KPIs. The main one that we're really looking for is what's called lead to booking ratio. This is the number one thing that we want to be tracking and the number one thing that we want to be making sure that we're basically holding them accountable to. What we look for is anywhere from around like 10 to 20% lead to booking ratio. So that means every 10 leads that you're getting, you should be able to book 1 or 2 calls. Depends on a lot of different things. What we're doing is we're making sure inside of our OS that we're tracking our lead to booking ratio, which this is pulled from the basically however you're getting your leads. We need to be tracking this metric because this is what the appointment setter should be really like keen on and be aiming to grow. The other thing that would be important is going to be that the appointment setter has control over is going to be the show rate. So this is also an appointment metric because one thing that the appointment setter does is make sure that they actually show up for the appointment, sending follow-up messages, sending a couple manual messages before they actually book. And the more that they confirm that they're going to join from a manual message, then they're more likely to show up and ultimately make money for the appointment setter depending on how you have that structured for them. So super important metrics that we need to be tracking, which can be done literally just inside of the appointment setting OS, and seeing the show rate from the closer OS, assuming that you have a sales process in place, is we can see the show rate right here. So the KPI here, depending on the offer, I mean, we're around like 80% show rate, which is really solid because we have this process in place. All right, so remember, we need to start with the foundation. We need to choose the right hiring, basically option for the stage of your business, depending on where you are. And we need to scale systematically with numbers. We need to make informed decisions and we need to spend time with them. And that is how we get somebody to scale with us as an appointment setter. If you want to implement this faster, I've put together all of my scripts, SOPs, everything as it pertains to hiring an appointment setter inside of our school group, which you can click the link down below to learn more about that. But here's the thing. After you book a call, what happens? These simple yet powerful tools can help you increase your close percentage, pre-sell clients before they jump on a call, and allow you as an agency owner to make more money. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the exact framework that you can steal so that you can start increasing your sales percentage and make more money at your agency by leveraging a video sales. First things first, when it comes to a VSL, why do we need a VSL? Well, the first thing is we want to pre-sell people before they jump on a call. It's going to attract your ideal customer. It's going to increase your close percentage. And lastly, it's going to save you time. 8 different phases that I'm going to go through. So phase 1 is going to be the hook in the offer. So this is what's going to get them to keep watching and to be like, they're talking exactly to me and I want to learn more about what this is. So in this case, the script is specific niche. If you want to desired outcome associated with financial gain without pain points, you want to desired outcome without pain points, and you want to desired outcome without pain points, then you want to listen to what I'm about to share with you in this video. We will install our unique mechanism inside of your business to help you desired outcome. With this system, you can desired outcome without pain points. What you could do is you could simply put this into ChatGPT and you could say, I help agency owners scale using systems and client acquisition. We help them go from burnt out to CEO, hustler to business owner, and not have to work in the weeds all of the time. Fill this in for me. And then this could help give you an example. You might want to prompt it like a little bit more because this was a pretty broad prompt. What we like to do with the agency U members is we create a document that is basically the trigger that helps write this really, really well. I'm just going to paste the ChatGPT prompt here. The next phase is going to be proof and results. So now we've got them excited. We got them watching. We're speaking to our ideal customer. Like imagine your ideal customer just watched that piece of the video and they're like, wow, you just spoke directly to my soul. I want to know exactly what it is that you do to help me get to the desired outcome that we just called out. So this is where we call out the case studies. Here, I would say something like, so I know you're thinking, how can we make a claim like this? Well, it's pretty simple. Just look at our track record. The agency operating system includes everything needed to go from burnt out glorified freelancer to a true agency CEO, making money without having to stress about all of the operations and doing everything inside of their business. We've helped over 325 agencies achieve a result like this in 90 days, like Dylan, who went from $2,000 a month, bogged down watching a bunch of YouTube videos, to scaling to $80,000 a month. And case study and case study and case study, same thing. Go here, some examples. Obviously, you'd put yours in there. So one thing that we always get asked is like, what if I don't have case studies? So if you don't have case studies, basically just use this instead. So you would say something like, thousands of agency owners are already using this strategy to work themselves out of their business because they know that impressive stat, impressive stat, impressive stat. Next phase is going to be a soft call to action. So this is where we're going to say no other agency can say they've done this in time frame, not even close. Now, if that's all you need to hear and you're thinking, okay, I'm ready. These guys have helped hundreds of agencies scale without having to add more hours to their day, then click the button below this video and book a meeting with my team so we can discuss more. So this is just prompting them to book a call, which I'll show you exactly how to use these videos later on. But that's where you want to get them to potentially make an action to book a call with you. Then we want to move on to the current situation. So this is where we can describe the pain and detail of the current situation, how it's the old way in 3 to 5 sentences, making it like a polarizing statement. Essentially here, what we want to do is we want to communicate, hey, we know where you're at. We know what you're doing right now. And we know that it's probably not going to work in the long run because it is an old way of doing things. So for example, like we know you're probably bogged down editing videos, handling day-to-day tasks, doing all the client success, emailing clients back and forth, responding to clients, fast response, constantly feeling like you're putting out fires. The good news is that you're about to discover a new system for agencies to blank, blank, blank. We have the hook in the offer, the proof and results, soft call to action, current situation. Now it's about story and pain points. Here you want to like relate to them a little bit and be a little bit more human because people buy people for the most part. And if we can show a little bit about your story, if you have an intriguing founding story, this is a really good place to put it because likely the reason you started your business was not because you want to get rich tomorrow or all that sort of stuff. There was a problem in the market that you found and there was a solution that you came up with to help get clients from where they are to where they want to go. So this is where we kind of want to highlight it. We have the human element. Now, second to last is the mechanism. So this is where we kind of just lay step by step because people buy into a process. If they can get convicted that the process that you have is going to get them to the outcome, they're going to be a lot more convinced on you and your offer and what it is that you're offering people. So ready to see how the agency operating system works, ready to see how agency use scale works. So this is the framework that we want to use. We'll audit your offer and systems, plug in agency authority funnel to predictably get you leads acquisition funnel to help you build a team. And last but not least is going to be call to action. So basically what we're doing here is we're removing the fear or the boundary of like, hey, we're going to like hard sell you. But in reality, I mean, hopefully you feel this way, is you're probably not going to work with somebody if you actually don't think that you can get them results. So right now we're just removing the friction or removing the fear of booking a call with you. So that's pretty much the framework of scripting the VSL, which is not the most important piece of the video, but is a piece of how to actually implement the VSL strategy to actually get new clients. So once we have this, now all we have to do is film it. So when it comes to filming it, there's a few things to note. So one, tonality is going to be the most important part of this, your conviction. This is going to be oftentimes the first impression of you as an agency owner to the client that's going to be watching it. Whatever you need to do to have your energy be extremely high, because your conviction needs to be leaking through the video that you are so convicted that this is going to work for them. And that's going to leak into the customer or the consumer of the video and then be like, wow, I'm convinced that this is actually going to work for me. And I feel like this is really solid. And I feel like this could actually help get for me from where I am to where I want to go. Simplicity doesn't need to be like crazy edits, like super fancy, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to communicate points. So when I say simplicity, like just film it as like a talking head video. From a post-production perspective, like what's going to help you is in the proof section, like any screenshots that you could do or any way that you could echo the proof through screenshots, that's going to be in your favor. And then lastly, we're going to create two versions of this. Version number one is going to be the call to action to get them to book a call with us. Version number two is basically going to be a duplicate of this. Okay, so we're going to basically duplicate this and we're going to remove the soft call to action here. And then we're going to change the call to action here. We're going to set expectations for the call. I'm just going to put that as the framework, set expectations for the call. So V1 is going to be basically getting them to book a call. And then V2 is going to be after they booked the call, the pre-call homework essentially. And basically at the end of this, we're going to say things like, be in a quiet environment. This is a Zoom call. Can't wait to talk to you. Confirm the appointment in calendar. Reply to the email saying yes, that you've watched this. So this version, we're going to say something like, and then you can script this out in your words, but we want to say, super excited to talk to you and learn more about your business, see if I can help you. Just a few expectations. We really want you to be in a quiet environment, meaning you're not going to be in your car. You're not going to be in a room where you're going to have a lot of distractions, because this is going to be a Zoom call and we want to make sure we're fully present. We're going to be sharing a screen and it's going to be important for you to be in a present environment where you are also in the capacity to be on a Zoom call with cameras on and be really present for that. Super important. If you cannot do that, then we need to reschedule this call. What we also want you to do is we want you to just go to your Google Calendar or whatever calendar service that you use and just accept the calendar invite if it does in fact work for you. Our calendar gets really full and we want to make sure that you're actually going to show up by confirming it in the calendar and confirming that you're going to be there. That's going to allow you to confirm the attendance, which is going to allow us to confirm that you're going to be there. And then lastly, reply back to the email that we sent over to you to confirm the appointment with a yes, saying that you've watched this video and that you're going to attend the call. Again, we just want to make sure that the pre-call homework, as well as you are going to be prepped and ready for our call. Thanks again so much for watching, and we will see you on the call. Something like that. Okay. Really just to set expectations for the call. So we're going to have two versions that we film. Last but not least is going to be how to use it. First things first is going to be appointment reminders, confirmation email. So after they book a call on your Calendly or whatever email service that you're going to use, you're going to say something like action required, confirm your appointment. And in the body of the email, you're going to say, hi, John, confirming your appointment with us at 2 p.m. on blah, 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 blah. 3 things to do before our call. 1, watch this video here, insert video. 2, reply yes once you've watched the video. And 3, confirm appointment in calendar. So that's going to be the appointment confirmation. So Calendly, whatever calendar service you're using, this is what we're going to send them from the jump. And it's important that we get them to watch the video before the call for sure, and that they get these yes. Second way that we're going to use it is like a landing page. 2 places on the landing page. 1, it can be on your booking page. So like basically like a lot of people's like contact page, essentially. What we like to do is we like to do step 1, watch this video. Step 2, book a call down below. So it's literally on your website. And then step 2, we want to redirect the confirmation of booking to a separate page with video. And the third way is just like an appointment setting. So if someone, like if you're doing lead generation from like DMs, like the authority funnel, which is what we teach inside of Agency U, then we want to send this to them when someone says, How can you help me? So those are 3 ways that we're going to use this to make us more money at the end of the day, but ideally attract our ideal customer, get them pre-warmed up before the call, close deals more efficiently. So that is the VSL framework that's helped us drive over $5 million in revenue and can do the same for you guys. And if you want to learn more about how we help agency owners just like what you just saw in this video, then you can click link down in the description to learn about how we can work with you one-to-one to install everything that we just talked about inside of your agency. I'm gonna show you the exact framework that we've used to take strangers into paying clients. Back in 2018, I didn't have any case studies, didn't have any testimonials, and I was able to close my first 5 clients. Since then, myself and our team has taken thousands of sales calls, and we have refined the sales process to a T. And this sales process has been responsible for over $7 million in sales. What I see a ton when it comes to agencies is they start to grow their business from word of mouth and referrals because they have a specific skill set. And they get on a call, they ask some questions, the customer is pretty familiar with already, and they're able to close. The problem with getting in the habit of doing this is that you're not following a structured framework, and there's a huge difference when it comes to somebody who's a referral word of mouth to somebody who's cold. We need a framework that we can follow for the word of mouth people, but also when we get new cold customers as we begin to scale. In addition, I mean, if you're jumping on a sales call with someone and you're going in completely blind, you are setting yourself up for failure. I always say design beats willpower. And from a sales framework perspective, it's really simple because all we really need to do is we need to have adherence to a protocol, adherence to a framework. If you jump in cold, you're going to end up failing because you have all these different variables set inside of your head. So what we need to do is we need to have the design. I'm going to go through this 8-step sales framework so that you can have a framework that you can literally copy and paste and start closing more deals and getting so much business that you won't know what to freaking do with it. First things first is the introduction. So when we initially jump on a call with them, the first thing that we're wanting to do is we want to just uncover why they booked the call, as well as have some small talk and some conversation. It's really just to build rapport, to kind of soften it, because what often happens is we'll jump in a sales call and we'll be like so rigid. We just want to come off from a character perspective as we are in fact human, and that breaks the ice a little bit and allows you to also get the motivation of why they booked a call, why they're interested in what you have to offer, which will leak into everything else. Now the fun part. So the first thing that we really want to uncover is their current situation. So in this section, what you want to do is you want to understand what they're doing to achieve the desired outcome that they're wanting. They booked a call with you for a reason. We want to understand their current workflow, what they're currently doing to achieve the desired outcome that your offer can do. So what you're going to ask is things like, what strategies are you doing to generate clients if you're a lead generation? What are you currently doing to manage your social media? How are you currently staying in front of more customers? And then they'll say stuff like, oh, I'm doing XYZ, I'm buying leads, I'm front desk person is posting for me, word of mouth, SEO, PPC. So this gives you a little bit of context into what the current situation is. And really our goal is to make them aware that the current situation, there's problems with it, and then make our solution, in fact, the solution to the problems that they become aware. So this should maybe take, 3 to 5 minutes until we transition into the problem awareness phase. So really the problem awareness phase is to uncover the prospect's pain points and challenges with their current situation. This is probably one of the most important sections of the framework because this allows you to go deep into making them problem aware, so that basically tees up your solution to be the solution to the problems that they're having. The questions that we're going to ask in problem awareness is basically understand like the problem they're facing with the current situation. So basically what I would do is I'd be like, okay, cool. So it sounds like you're buying leads, your front desk person is posting for you, you're relying a lot on word of mouth, you're doing SEO and PPC. So tell me a little bit about what's going on with like your current lead volume. Like, oh, and they're going to say something like quality isn't good. When you say like isn't good, what do you mean by that? We're going to basically take the pillar of the problem that they said to us. We're going to use this to create layers of a pain. So when you say like the quality isn't good, what do you mean? Unqualified prospects. Like they don't have money, or what's going on? Oh yeah, they're like don't have resources. How long have you not been able to get good quality prospects? Okay, this has been going on for like 6 months. Wow. How has this been affecting your guys' growth in your guys' business? Oh, you haven't been able to scale. So what I did basically there is I'm labeling the problem and I'm going deeper on the problem. We're going to use this later on in the presentation phase, but really what we're going to do with, 3 to 5 different problems is we're going to rinse and repeat. What else has been the issue with scaling? Oh, social media isn't growing. Tell me more about that. Not getting views. No one is seeing our stuff. How long has that been going on for? Oh, that's like been going on for like 12 months. We've been trying to post on social media and like become more known. And what's that been like causing internally for you? Oh, like we see the competitors like crushing it. And like, we're just wondering like, why aren't we getting seen on social media? Like, why aren't we becoming more known? We have a really good product, but this isn't working. Same process, identifying the problem and going deep on each problem. So we just want to dig deep on each problem so that they're like, oh, wow, this is a problem. And we want to empathize with them too. And psychologically, what's happening here is the client is thinking for sure, like, this is a problem. This is a problem. Wow, yes, this is a problem. And like, it's sort of like bringing light to a lot of the problems that the customer has. And they're becoming extremely aware of the problems and aware of the problems inside of their business, okay? And it's also teeing you up to really provide a solution. So then after the problem, after we do this, then it becomes the solution awareness. So basically what we want to do here is we want to understand what they've tried and what their ideal solution looks like. Basically here, we want to make sure that what we actually do aligns with their expectations and also allows us to kind of tee up what we offer in like a really good way. So what we want to do is we want to be like, basically, what have you tried in the past? That is the question. Well, I've tried PPC and I've tried front desk person posting. I've tried hiring a videographer. I've tried hiring SEO team. We're going to kind of do a similar thing. So tell me more about like the PPC, like what didn't work there? The cost per lead was super high. What else wasn't working? Like, because PPC traditionally should work for your industry, they're just like super unresponsive and it just was like a bad thing. And then like your front desk person, what was the issue with that? Like, oh, bad content, no views. Okay, got it. And then you hired a videographer. Like, what was the situation with that? Like, they didn't know our industry, took too much of my time. Okay, got it. So tell me more about like, what does your ideal situation look like? What is it that you're actually looking for? Then you can understand their current situation or like what it is that they're actually looking for. Well, we're looking for cost per lead of blah, 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 blah. We want growth on our social. We want not spend a lot of time on this. So we're pretty much teeing up as we begin to present everything, all of our ammo that allows us to position our solution as basically the go-to thing. And then we transition into the consequence commitment. So what we want to do here is basically create a little bit of sense of urgency. What is the consequence of not making a change? What are the negative outcomes of an action? We want to build urgency and make them realize basically the importance of taking action right now. So what we're going to ask is questions like, if nothing changes, like what do you think business is going to be like in 6 months? They're going to be like, oh yeah, like competition is going to crush us, never be able to scale. So like, why now? Like, why are you looking to make a change now? And like, are you looking to make a change now? Yeah, I mean, like we've been dealing with this for like 6 months, like the social media thing for like 12 months. So like it's time for change because what we've been doing hasn't been working. And if they're like a little bit passive here, if they're like, oh, like I'm just kind of exploring options, then that's when we really tie it back to the answers that we got before. Well, you had mentioned that you've been getting bad quality leads for like 6 months. If you keep getting bad leads for the next 6 months, what is that going to do for your business? It's kind of tricky if you're newer to sales to like have that authority. So it's really important that you practice these sections and really get your reps in. But this is where you're really hitting on the pain and then also creating a sense of urgency that like now you need to make this decision. And then you work in exactly like the consequences of them not taking action. So this is basically the question phase. So this is where you're getting a lot of context on the business so that you can then transition to the presentation and basically presenting your solution. So basically what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to present our solution and how we can actually achieve their goals. And now, since we have all of the context that we need and we have all of the context that is painful for the customer, all we need to do is we need to use the context that we have and make sure we're presenting that or using it in the presentation. So we're going to highlight how our offer is going to directly address the pain points that aligns with the desired outcomes and the solution that they're actually looking for. So what we do is we go through a simple presentation. So the transition is cool. So it sounds like you've had bad quality leads, your social media isn't growing, you've tried PPC in the past, but the cost per lead is high and the team that you hired is super unresponsive. You had front desk person posting like really bad content with no views. And you've tried hiring a videographer in the past, but they didn't know your industry and they took way too much of your time. And a win, what you're actually looking to achieve is you want a cost per lead of $30. You want to grow in social media consistency and you don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. You want to have a team that you can trust to actually get this off of your plate. Does that sound like I got everything right? Is it cool if I share my screen and go through just a quick presentation sharing exactly what we do and to see if that's something that we can do to help you out? A little bit about us. Like we were established in 2018. We've served over 300 people inside of your industry. I mean, you mentioned that you've worked with a lot of people that don't know your industry. You're all who we work with, and we've worked with a lot of people inside of your industry. We've made over 5,000 videos, a lot within your industry. So be sure not to take up a lot of your time. We have a big studio. We've won a couple Telly Awards. We know what we're doing. I mean, this has worked for people like Austin, who had a situation of blank, blank, blank. The problem with what they had was blank, blank, blank. The solution is we plugged in our offer and they were able to make $80,000 off of $10,000. So similar to you, like they also had a front desk person posting with really bad content and no views, and their cost per lead was super high. Once we were able to plug in our authority funnel, then we were able to predictably get them new clients without them having to spend any time on it. Then you go through a bunch of case studies. And then as you're going through the case studies, what you're doing is you're reverting back to what they said, because what they want to do is they want to feel understood. Otherwise, if you're like talking about, I don't know, things that just aren't relevant, it's not going to be relevant. It's not going to help you in the sales presentation. So we want to make sure like we have the ammo right here. We want to be referencing it as we're going through the sales presentation. So that's why it's important to make notes. So after the proof, then we explain the process. Basically, we're going to talk about a process of getting our clients from where they are to where they want to go. And we're going to define the process, and we're going to talk about how that process solves the problems and get them to the solution from what they explain. Basically, how we help clients get from where they are to where they want to go is the first thing that we're going to do is strategy. So you mentioned like a lot of bad content and like your cost per lead is really low, and like a lot of people that you've worked with don't know your industry and you're getting a lot of unqualified prospects. Like that's what we do in the strategy. We make sure that our strategy is actually going to attract your ideal customer, and the strategy from a content perspective is going to pull in your ideal customer so that you're no longer dealing with unqualified prospects. And that's where we also get to know you so we can understand your industry. So we're not going to waste a bunch of time having to do a bunch of research on the industry, but we just ask a super simple questionnaire, come up with a strategy that fits and is in line with your brand so that it can in fact speak to your ideal customer and pull them in, whatever it is. After the strategy is defined, then we're going to do everything for you. So we have the strategy, we have everything dialed in, we have all the pieces needed to draw in qualified people with resources. Then what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our authority funnel or whatever it is that you do into your business so that you can predictably get new leads and qualified leads. So what we're going to do on the execution process, like one thing that you mentioned was the unqualified prospects. We have a process to identify leads that are qualified versus unqualified, and we're going to optimize for the qualified leads. And we do that using our CRM and our client portal, where we can mark if leads are qualified and start to identify qualified leads versus unqualified leads. Also from the execution perspective, I mean, we have a team, we've won 2 Telly Awards. So we want to make sure that the content is actually good. Our team is going to do all of the research for you, and we'll film and create all the content for you in just 2 hours a month so that you're not going to waste your time creating content. You're going to know exactly what we're going to execute. So when we do execute, it's going to be really strong, really good, whatever. And the content that we're going to create is going to help draw in more qualified prospects because they're going to watch your content, and that's going to build trust with them, and that's going to increase the likelihood of them closing because they're already going to trust you. We work in a day and age where people work with who they trust, whatever it is. Okay. And then lastly is amplify. Then we're going to plug in our authority funnel so that we can predictably get you new clients and do everything for you. You mentioned you're not getting a lot of views. You mentioned that your social media isn't scaling because you have your front desk person. Perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to install the authority funnel, which typically our clients see a 20% increase in new leads in the first week, whatever it could be, completely done for you, and really optimize for getting qualified people and getting more views on your social media with the content that we are in fact creating, as well as predictably getting new leads by plugging in our blah, 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 whatever. After the process, what we're going to do is we're going to pause and we're going to say, does like the process seem like a solution that you're looking for? Do you think the process could help you, get your cost per lead down to blah, 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 get growth on social media? Have you not spent a lot of time? Like what questions do you have about our process? And this is before I even go through any numbers or anything like that. I'm just asking if they understand the process and what questions that they have. And then what you can also include is like price increment slides. So like going through like an ROI calculator. So what you can actually do is you can basically on a call be like, okay, cool. Like, tell me a little bit about your average customer value. Cool. Average customer value is $2,000. Cool. If we spent like $1,000 in ads, like we should be able to get, 50 leads a month. And then from there, we should be able to book 20% of them, which would be 10 calls. And from 10 calls, like how many deals do you actually close? Okay. About 2-3 from every 10 calls. Cool. So if your average value is 4,000 and we get you 3 deals, $12,000 in new business, like that's pretty much what we could expect here, in addition to like you crushing the content. And what we also see is a lot of people will like try to hire in-house. Like I would only show this if like they're considering an in-house team or if this is even an option. Like a lot of reason people hire agencies is because like hiring in-house, like you got to have a marketing manager, videographer, social media manager, all the things that we're doing for you. This could cost you $360,000 plus a year. And a lot of people also try to do it in-house. Like this is if it's like a real estate agent or a personal brand, this would be a good anchoring slide to show where it's like, dude, you're about to spend $146,000 a year, especially in your time when your time could be better used working on the business, not in the business, and trying to figure it out. Like you're a business owner, not a marketer. And then why we find a lot of people work with us is because in-house is like, you're basically the marketing manager, right? Like you have to create the SOPs, you have to define the strategy, all that sort of stuff. We already have the solution. We already have the process that's predefined. That's pretty much ready to go. Then that's when you go to the deliverables. After they understand the process, after they're in agreement that they feel like this could meet their needs and there's no questions on the process, then that's when you'd be like, basically for you, I think the pro plan would be perfect for you. This is what we do. This is how much it costs. This is what you could expect from it. And then you're explaining the deliverables. Then after you explain the deliverables, what we're going to do is we're going to initiate the closing ladder. Here, we're trying to get their alignment on our offer and move them closer to closing the deal. The goal is to gauge their commitment and make them feel confident in their decision to move forward. So what I typically do is I'll have this up and then I'll ask them questions like, what do you find most valuable about what I've shared so far? What's been like most helpful? Like what's been most exciting? Well, love the content strategy, love that you do everything for us. So we're basically asking questions to get to the sale. And basically what you're looking for is just like full on commitment that this is going to get them from where they are to where they want to go. And then basically what's going to come up from this is objections. Oh, like the cost seems really high, or I'm not sure if this is going to work for me, or I need to talk to my business partner, or whatever it could be. So if there's no objections, then what we would want to be like is we want to say, what would make you confident moving forward with this today? Oh yeah, I feel ready to go. Perfect. Contract, on board, let's get it. If not, there's likely going to be objections that you're going to need to handle. And it's going to be important for you to be prepared for objections because you're probably going to get them. What we need from an objection perspective is we just need a framework to follow. So if there's hesitations or concerns when you're asking the closing ladder questions, we just need to be prepared to answer them. We don't like if they're like, oh, I need a day to think about it. Like we don't want to be like, okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll send you this and we'll follow up in a day. No, we don't want to do that. We want to try to pin them down right now. So let's just say I need to think about it. Sure, like that's no problem. Just so I understand, like when you say I need to think about it, like what do you mean specifically? Like, what is it that you need to think about? Like I just don't make decisions overnight and I want to just like a day to process it and review the presentation. Got it. So time frame aside, like giving yourself a day to think about it, totally understand. Like do you feel like what we can do will be able to help you, grow your social media, not have you a lot to spend and get your cost per lead down? Got it. Like what makes you think that it can? They're starting to basically close themselves. I mean, you mentioned that you've been doing this for 6 to 12 months and it hasn't been working. And if your goal is to decrease your cost per lead, get more views on social media and become more known in the area, I don't see a reason why, and if you're in agreement that this will help you get from where you are to where you want to go, what would be the hesitation to have a day? If you handled that well, then you'd ask for the sale. If not, then they're going to have another objection. Well, again, I just need a day to think about it. If they're like super firm on that, then basically schedule up a follow-up call. But we want to make sure that we're prepared for objections. Okay. So think about it: objection, money objection, third-party objection, time objection, deposit closing, if you want to take a deposit. So if it's like, think about it, then cool, perfect. And just see if I can help here some of the possible feelings. Like what are the hesitations, reservations, or thoughts you might be having that's causing you to want to take some time to think about it? Because it's really an objection is a smokescreen for something else. So if they're saying, I want to think about it, like we're trying to get to the root of what the hesitation is to move forward like right now. And let's just say it's Monday. Cool. No problem. Just so I understand, when you say like finances, can you tell me like what you mean by that? Yeah, I hear you where you're coming from. Putting money aside for a minute, do you feel like what we can do can help you provide an ROI and get you more money than what you're going to put down for this? Like, why do you feel like it is? So it's following the same framework. Is it that you don't have the funds to make the investment, or you don't feel like this will actually provide a return on investment for you? And then that's where you go back to like an ROI calculator, for example. Well, basically what we came up with was, if our contract value is this, to me, it feels like this would actually make you more money, not just cost you money. Same thing. So what we want to do with the objections is we just want to pre-write these out and make sure that we're prepared for them, because it is going to come up. 110%. But I'm not going to spend too much time on the objections because I wanted to actually just get to the framework of actually closing. So if they're like, okay, cool, this sounds great. What would make you confident moving forward today? Cool. We answered all the questions. They're ready to move forward. Then we send the onboarding and we're pretty much ready to rock. So that is basically the framework that we want to master for our clients. The more you practice this, the more that you adhere to a protocol like this, the more likely you're going to be able to basically be subconsciously competent with this and no longer need to have notes in front of you, all that sort of stuff. But what you just need to focus on on is what is the design that's going to increase the likelihood of getting you to the outcome of a closed deal. You want to perfect that design, get it to a T, and then all your success metrics become is just following the design. So your next steps is write your own sales framework. Use the same exact framework that I created to create your own. What we always also say is to store it in what we call like an agency operating system. So we have an operating system, we have like a sales operating system, and we have an SOP for our sales framework. And we're going to store the framework right here with what are the questions that we're asking, what's the problem awareness, all that sort of stuff, so that it's just ready to go every single time. Or when we get a new book call, we're adding them to our CRM. We can also add in the sales framework into the template, into the card. So when they do jump on a call, all I need to do is scroll down and I can see all the questions I need to ask and make notes based off of that. Super important to store it somewhere that you can easily access it. And then lastly, practice it before calls and ultimately be disciplined with it. And if you want more information about how we can install this sales process into your business, go ahead and click the link down below to learn more about our school, which will teach you this exact framework. It'll give you this sales presentation. It'll give you all the objections and so much more. If not, thanks so much for watching, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.